Rajendra, why don't you start? Yeah.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome all of you for another knowledge sharing session of CMA Sri Lanka CPD program, jointly organized by the Conference Seminars Committee and the Taxation Committee of the CMA Sri Lanka, being a national premier management accounting body in the country. Today, we are having a hot topic on the hands-on experience of Revenue Administration Management Information System, famously known as Ramis, on how to fill the return and file the returns through Ramis, and we will cover the areas of statement of estimated tax return, personal income tax, corporate income tax, withholding tax, value-added tax return, as well as SSCL returns. To commence today's proceeding, I have the privilege of inviting our founder and founder president of the CMA Sri Lanka, Professor Lakshman R. Vattavala. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gajendra. Mr. Gajendra is the chairman of the Taxation Committee and a member of the Council of CMA. So we are very happy that he is handling this very important topic of taxation. So our learned speakers, we have Mr. Atula Ranavira and also Mr. Tusita Gamage, who are with us. He is really the Senior Deputy Commissioner Department of Inland Revenue, and Mr. Atula Ranavira, the Managing Partner of Ranavira Associates. Then we have our other invitees, our CEO, and also many number of participants, both members, non-members, and of course, number of invitees that we have sent. So I'm very happy that we have been able to organize this webinar, hands-on experience and on Ramis. I think already Mr. Gajendra has mentioned to you what Ramis means. So I must thank both Mr. Atula Ranavira, who's been helping us in all tax matters, and also for Mr. Tusita Gamage for accepting our invitation to come to deliver this very important address. Now, looking at the numbers that I have registered, I must tell you that this is the biggest number that we have had. We just exceeded the 1,000 number. 1,000 number of registrations, I think, is a record number that we have got. So this shows the interest on the tax area. One thing is, of course, also the hands-on experience. Because I was really comparing this with the professional bodies. Now, the Institute of Certified Management Accountants is the national body for producing professional management accountants in Sri Lanka. But what is our specialty? We not only give them a theory, but we also give the practical experience. Now, everyone says they need people with practical experience, but I had never heard anyone, or maybe from the government side, ever saying that you should give the pride of place to professionals. So this shows that this is what we really need, and everyone should be able, given the opportunity to become professional. So CMA as a body incorporated by an act of parliament, we are also recognized by the International Federation of Accountants. Now we are really now talking of digitalization. The Ramis is really a digitalized mode for you to maybe send all your returns and also pay your tax. So that's why the digital technology is very important to this country. All our accounting methods, all our procedures, everything is digitalized. So today we are able to create value to our clients and also to the society and the members. So that's the important thing which many have not still realized. Especially the private sector has realized this, but government sector, they must need. Now I'm sure most of those who are present here are those who are paying taxes. So if they want to pay the tax, then they want to have the least resistance or the least problems in paying this. Now in our syllabus itself, I must tell you that we have an in-depth cover of taxation, where we have 2 papers on taxation, so that those who pass out will be able to practice the profession of taxation. This has been identified by the International Federation of Accountants, especially for the small and medium practitioners, where they say the largest client base is on the taxation area. So this possibility is created by us, and today especially with this very many taxes that have come, we will be able to help, and now those who become members will certainly be able to serve you. So I don't want to say more than that, but in fact, I must say that earlier I was fascinated by seeing the large numbers at the election meetings, but today we are seeing them at a tax webinar that we are having. Over 1,000 is not a easy number to get, but this is what the people of this country need. We need the skills. The skills have to be developed, because what I have heard on the political platform is all giving increase of salaries. That is not what they want. If you develop your skill, you get double the salary. So that is what they must do. And I think they must take a lesson from the professionals, because sometimes they think that we are a non-profit making institution, we are managing on our own, but we are not owned by the government. So they think that we have no role to play. Actually, we are the people who are playing the role. The private sector is the one who is earning all the foreign exchange to this country. So we are able to pay our taxes to the Department of Inland Revenue, and I'm very happy that Mr. Tusita Gamage, with the support of Mr. Atula Ranavira, has come to tell us more about this. So I'm sure that this webinar that we have organized will be really very beneficial to you, and also enable you to see that tax is not a problem, but you can pay it, but also that value has to be created. Our tax is the main revenue for this government. So if you pay more salaries, more expenses, then who's going to pay the higher increased tax? So we need to look into this, and professional advice has to be sought. They are not talking of professional. We can't go behind politicians. If they want advice, they come to us and we give them the correct advice, what has to be done, how the country can be taken forward. So thank you very much to everyone. And I'm sure that you are going to listen to a very good webinar on hands-on experience, which I think is the most important thing, and the digitalization of the Inland Revenue Department, which is the Ramis. Thank you, and over to you, Gajendra.
Thank you very much, sir, for your introductory remarks. So now, based on our agenda, let's move on to the theory on the hands-on experience of Ramis from two of our eminent speaker, Mr. Atula Ranavira, senior chartered accountant and fellow member of our institute, as well as the Deputy Commissioner from the Inland Revenue, Mr. Tusita Gamage. As most of the participants are aware, this is the time the returns, even including the individual returns, need to be filed online for the first time as a compulsory measure. So that's also one of the reasons where we have the registration to exceed 1,000 today. And at the moment itself, we have around 450 joined already. Over to you, Mr. Tularanaviran and Dusita Gamage.
Thank you, Mr. Gajendra. And thanks, Professor Lakshman Watawala. Right. I would like to thank Mr. Tursita Gamage for accepting our invitation, especially accepting our invitation, because he is having wide experience in Ramis as well as in secretarial. These two are combined together, interconnected, Ramis as well as the secretarial section. And as he is having experience in both places, I think we will be able to get better understanding on all these things. Right. In my case, my job today is just to open the path for Mr. Tusita Gamage to go on that. That's all. Therefore, I'll be talking only for about 15 minutes, not more than that. Right. But now in my session, I will cover. Yeah, I will cover the introduction of these three taxes. Now we are talking about we are talking about Inland Revenue Act, Then we are talking about the tax law of the VAT law. Then we are talking about the SSCL Act. Now, these days, as these tax amounts are really high, everybody are worrying about these tax amounts, obviously, because you have only limited income. When you are having limited income, always you have to be careful. You have to carefully spend your money. Therefore, always you have to be careful, and you are worried about the tax cost, right? To support my presentation, now I'm sharing a document. This is a detailed Word document. Why I prepared this detailed Word document is not to read all these things. It's about 10 pages. I'm not going to read all 12 pages. I'm not going to read everything. But we can share this document later on. Then you all can refer it when it is required. I'll just give you a briefing of income tax, VAT, and SHCL, and briefing of the different time limitations of activating various acts under these three laws. Return filing dates, tax payment dates, things like that we should know, right? Anyway, to manage my time, now here also I have mentioned introduction to filling and filing of return through Ramis. Then the first three with relate to the first four with relate to the income tax, self-estimated tax, personal income tax, corporate income tax, withholding tax. All these four are income taxes. Then VAT, SHCL, right? Then I'll give a small introduction. Now, wherever the areas which I thought of explaining a little more, I have shaded with yellow color. Basics of income tax. Why income tax is needed? Why various taxes, not only the income tax, why various taxes are needed, and what taxes are applicable, right? Then obviously, without reading all these things, obviously, for any government of a country need money to defray their expenses. Expenses contain two main parts. One is the government employees' salaries and all, and the pension. Then the other thing is various welfare activities. Then in connection with that, various free services. Sri Lanka government is giving various free services, right? For that, the Sri Lanka government is collecting money by way of various taxes, namely income tax, mainly income tax, VAT, SHCL, import duty, excise duty, right? Then we'll see when there's a tax law, introducing a tax law, there various tax principles are there. But in certain cases, sometimes we see that these principles have not been met. Some occasions we feel like that, like equity, certainty, economy, convenience, voluntary compliance, efficiency, adequacy, simplicity, broad base. Actually, the most lacking point in Sri Lanka is this broad base, especially in income tax. As per the Gazette notification issued on 31st May 2023 by Minister of Finance of Sri Lanka, all 18 plus people to get the TIN registration by 1st June 2024. Now, as per the statistic, we have roughly 17.2 million population, 18 plus population. Still, when we see the individual tax files, I think we have only individual tax files lesser than 1 million. That means we are having only very less tax registration. Then the people who are paying tax is financing the other tax liable people also. Just because 17.2 million people registered, it doesn't mean the taxes are there, but at least 3-4 million tax liable people may be there, right? Then progressivity, right? Then in Sri Lanka, all legislations, main legislation comes through the parliament. Then the people who are subject to these tax laws are the taxpayers. The people who is responsible for the administrators, especially VAT, SSCL, and income tax, the IRD, Inland Revenue Department, then we have Customs Department, Excise Departments, and all, right? That's the situation with relate to income taxes in Sri Lanka, right? Then the current income tax law, Act number 24 of 2017, this particular act is amended 3 times recently. And with those amendments, we have to read this act. Now we'll see the imposition of tax. In the income tax imposition, it says income tax shall be payable for each year of assessment by a person who has a taxable income or a person who receives final withholding payment. That means always the tax liable person is person is termed as person. But specialty of this person is either having taxable income or receiving any payment subjected to final withholding tax, right? Then this is to be paid for each year of assessment. Once you arrive the taxable income, we have to apply the rates, and once we calculate the tax amount, we can deduct the allowable tax credit, local or overseas tax credit. Then in the case of withholding tax, final withholding tax, the person who is making a final withholding payment should withhold the final withholding payment tax and pay only the balance amount to the recipient and the tax amount to the IRD. Right. Then generally, the resident persons should pay income tax on world income. Non-resident persons should pay income tax only on the income generated in or from Sri Lanka. Right. Then when we read this section 2, the charging section, it answers to various questions. What tax, income tax, who is liable, a person is liable, how frequently, a year of assessment, on what, either on taxable income or on any receipt which is to be subjected to final withholding tax. The rates are given in the first schedule. There are certain allowable deductions as per the Act. Right. Now, there are various interpretations connected with this charging section. I'm not going to read all these things. But when we read in Sri Lanka, there are four types of persons who should pay tax. One is individual, then company, then partnership, then trust. Individuals, companies, partnerships, or trusts. Then these terms, partnerships, companies, trust, and all, those are also defined in the tax law. I'm not going to read those things, right? Then how to arrive the taxable income? To arrive the taxable income, we have to first arrive the assessable income. Assessable income in section 4. Section 4, assessable income is defined to include employment income, business income, investment income, and other sources of other sources. There are four sources: employment, business, investment, other sources. Once we add the accessible income from employment, accessible income from business, so on, we are getting the total accessible income. Once we get the total accessible income, from that we can deduct two types of things. One is qualifying payments. The other one is relief. Relief is available only for specified individuals. Specified individuals. Qualifying payment is common for anybody, specified anybody, right? Then residency principle also I have given here for your further studies later on. I have given the conditions in very summarized form. Then basis of calculation. I think this is important for you all. Whether we are calculating on cash basis or on accrual basis. Cash basis or on accrual basis. Right. Employment income applicable only to individual. Always it has to be cash basis. Business income, either case, accrual basis. Investment income of an individual, cash basis. For any other person, it is proper basis. Other income, proper basis. When it says proper basis, you can change the basis with the consent of the Commissioner General. With the consent of the Commissioner General. Then, for your easy understanding, I have given a table of tax calculation. I'm not going to explain this. Now, employment income, business income, investment income, others, then the total, once you get the total amount, after deducting these the various exempt items, final withholding tax paid items and all, we are getting the total assessable income. As I mentioned, once we get the total assessable income, we are deducting the qualifying payments. Then thereafter, we are deducting the reliefs. Then we are getting the taxable income. Then we apply the tax rates and arrive the tax amount. From the tax amount, we deduct the credits available. Maybe overseas credit or local credit. Then you are getting the balance tax payable or overpaid. Right. Now, with relate to the income tax, the introduction, I'm covering only those few things. Now I'll just run through the VAT part. Value added tax, Act number 2 of Value Added Tax Act. Under the Value Added Tax Act, Section 2 is the charging section. Under this charging section, it says any person on importation of goods for whatever the purpose, other than personal goods, not for commercial purposes, is liable to VAT. Then the second category, any registered person on taxable activity done in Sri Lanka. This taxable activity is defined in this law. The value-added tax is charged at the time of supply. At the time of supply, on every taxable supply. This is very important. At the time of supply, on every taxable supply. This is very, very important. Right. Then, made in taxable period by a registered person in the course of carrying on or carrying out a taxable activity in Sri Lanka. Then the importation, anyway, importation other than personal baggages, everything else is liable. Then taxable activity. This is very, very important. I know most of our tax administrators as well as most of our taxpayers have not properly understood this section. Taxable activity. Read this carefully. Business, trade, profession, vocation, adventure or concern in the nature of trade. If it is adventure or concern, it has to be the nature of trade category. Any activity carried on as a business. any activity carried on. When a company is doing some activity, if that activity is carried on as a business, on that supply, you have to pay tax. Carried on as a business, trade, profession, or vocation, other than in the course of employment. Now here, actually, if we'll apply this law correctly, when we dispose our used fixed assets, as per the law, it is not liable because we are not selling fixed assets as part of our business, carried on as a business, not as business, therefore not liable. But this is arguable. Now there are some cases which has gone up to Supreme Court. We are awaiting for judgment. Once the judgment comes, we'll see what will be the outcome, right? This is something which I want to highlight for you to read these things and try to understand my argument, right? Then clubs and association and other entities here mentioned, I'm not going to read all these things. Time of supply is defined in the law. There are 4 incidents. Out of these 4 incidents, the first occurrence is the time to recognize the VAT. An invoice is raised, payment for the goods is received by the supplier, a payment for the goods due to the supplier in respect of such supply, delivery of goods has been effected. That means in most of the cases, at the very beginning, we have to pay VAT. Supply of services also the same type of conditions are there. Right? Then taxable supply refers to in supply of goods and services made or deemed to be made in Sri Lanka within chargeable is chargeable with tax, VAT. This is VAT is a domestic consumption tax. Similarly, SSCL is also a domestic consumption tax, right? Therefore, if you will use that service or the goods in Sri Lanka, then you have to pay VAT. The other VAT cost, right? Direct export, always 0%. Then we had various rates. Now, on no standard rate is 18%. Now the standard rate is 18%. Right. Then supply of goods mean, this is also important, passing of exclusive right, exclusive ownership of goods, passing of exclusive ownership of goods to another person. This is very important, right? That is, at that point, we consider it as a supply of goods. Then supply of services. Supply of services, it is not a complete definition. It says includes a loss incurred in a taxable activity. Or even the losses covered for which an indemnity is due. Indemnity means contractual promise. Right. Now, registered person, anybody who is liable to pay tax, reaching the threshold, or anybody who feel that near future that person is making liable level turnover, then should get the registration. There are 3 registration provisions. Now this compulsory registration is the thing which is important, compulsory registration. Now at present, with effect from 1st April 2000, last one, I'll read the latest one. On or after 1st January 2024, turnover threshold per quarter is 15 million. Per annum is 60 million. Per annum, 60 million. Right. Then, especially you have to keep in mind, once you obtain a permanent VAT registration, Yeah, there's a temporary VAT registration available only for import-related clients. Now, in that case, when you are having a permanent VAT registration, you should file the return. You should obtain the registration, and thereafter you should act according to the law, right? Compulsory, right? Then once you obtain the registration, you can't cancel the registration until expiration of 1 year from that original registration. Therefore, unless it is really required, don't get the registration, because even the next 6 months, 9 months, even next 9 months period, your turnover is very much lesser than the threshold. Still, you have to pay the VAT. Right? Therefore, you have to be very careful. Then, to finish off my part, SHCL, under the SHCL Act, liable person is a taxable person. This is effective from 1st October 22. That is charging on liable turnover at the rate of 2.5%. 2.5%. SHCL is a tax again on a domestic consumption. Right. Exclusions from relevant turnover, any bad debt, you need not to pay tax. That means you can issue credit note, debit note as required. Even VAT on the payment of VAT, you need not to pay SHCL again. Any rebate, if you receive any rebate from Export Development Board, you need not to pay SHCL on that. Right. Then, under the SHCL, only 4 categories are chargeable. Now, this SHCL law is 100% copy of the NBT law. 100% copy of the NBT law, only the rates are different, that type of things. And these turnover limits are different. Those are the differences. Now, but as in NBT Act, there are 4 types of persons who should pay: importing, manufacturing, providing services, wholesale or retail of any article, retail sale of any article, including importation and sale. Now, all these are covered. Now, by seeing this, it is very well clear that certain things are not covered with this. That means legislator deliberately wanted to exclude, especially agriculture sector. Unprocessed agricultural produce totally excluded from SHCL, because unprocessed agricultural produce is not imports. Suppose you are running a farm, not import, not a manufacture. Those are producing, not manufacturing. Then providing of services, nothing to do with that. Wholesale or retail sales, nothing to do with that. That means unprocessed agricultural produce is not liable to SHCL. But I know a lot of people, by not knowing the law, they are paying VAT, paying SHCL on that, right? Then SHCL, on what turnover you should pay, I have given here the percentages. I'm not going to read those things. Suppose you are above the threshold. Now it is annually 120 million and quarterly, now it is 15 million a quarter and 60 million a year. Now 15 million a quarter or 60 million, similar to VAT thresholds. You have to get the registration and start paying. Right. Then return submission. Once you get the registration, on or before 20th of the following month after a quarter. That means quarterly returns to be sent. After the quarter, you are supposed to file the return. Then the monthly, you are supposed to pay monthly and file a quarterly return on or before 20th of the month after the quarter. Right. Payment of tax, as I mentioned, 20th of the immediate subsequent month you are supposed to pay. Then significant tax due dates I have mentioned here. I'm not going to read this, right? This is a summary of significant VAT registration, VAT liability, significant tax dates. Under income tax, I have given self-assessment payment in 4 quarters within 1.5 months from end of each quarter you are supposed to pay. Final payment, if any, by 30th September. Then final tax payment 30th November. Final tax return filing 30th November. Then withholding tax 15th of the subsequent month. Likewise, various dates are there. In the case of capital gain, payment date and the return filing is on or before 15th of, on or before the 30th of the subsequent month. Right. Then value-added tax, also the payments by monthly payment by 20th, a monthly next month 20th, then return filing within 30 days after ending of that quarter. SSCL also the same, but it is within 20 days of the end of the quarter. Right. Then I have given some questions which I have got when I was doing various other sessions. I thought of including those things. Right. Now, in addition to these things, when we are paying taxes, always we have to see whether that income is a taxable income or not. I know these days there's an issue which relate to the eggs and poultry farming, fishing, shrimps farming, prawns farming, whether those are liable to VAT or not, whether those are liable to SHCL or not. No, it is not liable at all unless but if you are doing any processing, liable. Because the VAT law also it says unprocessed agricultural produce is exempt. Now, especially eggs, we are not producing eggs. Hen is doing the processing part. Hen is the one who is doing the processing part, not the farmer. Then farmer is not liable to VAT on that. Therefore, in Sri Lanka, egg farmers are not liable to VAT. Then prawns, then hatcheries, none of them are liable. Especially hatcheries, prawn hatcheries, chicken, poultry hatcheries, not liable. Then the way I interpret, even the chicken, dressed chicken, the dressed whole chicken should not be liable. Because that is, we can't consider it as a processed, because that's a mandatory cleaning. That's a mandatory cleaning what we are doing. The mandatory cleaning for the consumer is not processing. Therefore, that's all for the time being. I would like to, I would like to stop at this point. I think though I said 15 minutes, I took little extra time. Mr. Gajendran, over to you. Thereafter, Mr. Gajendran, then Mr. Tutsita Gamage will do the balance part.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah Ranavira, for your extensive presentation. And now I would like to invite Mr. Dusita Gamage to do his presentation. Over to you, Mr. Dusita Gamage.
Thanks. Before going to start, can you hear me now?
Yeah, sure. It's clear.
Sorry?
Clear.
We can hear.
Before going to start the return filing session, I
can
express my
open your video.
gratitude to all of you for being here.
Mr. Tusita, open your video. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I truly appreciate organization team of CMA Sri Lanka and you taking time of your busy schedule and give this opportunity to IRD to express the manual practical experience in return submission. As you know, Ramis system is a comprehensive system designed for revenue management and revenue administration. It helps taxpayers as well as IRD officers in return compliance, revenue collecting, and return filing, and decision making, like that. Today I'm going to first I am going to explain how to file set return statement of estimate tax payable. As per the section 90 and 91 of IR Act, every installment payer have to submit set return in every before 15th of August of every year of assessment. Now we can move the return submission page. I will share my screen. So, can you see the screen? Can you see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. For return submission, all the return submission, you need to go to IRD web portal www.ird.gov.lk. Then click on e-service menu and select access to e-service. Then move to the proceed to login section and select relevant option. If individual taxpayer, you can select individual. If corporate taxpayer, you can click on corporate option. Or as you log in as a tax agent, select. Then after selecting, you can click on proceed to login. In this login page, you can enter your, this is the corporate taxpayer and partnership taxpayer. They need to obtain SSID, specific staff ID, for return filing. You can select SSID, you can type SSID and IRD PIN, then TIN number of the company under the my company tax reference number. This is the actual web page. But I now going to explain using the testing environment. This is the pre-prepared, using pre-prepared video. Then you can enter the specific, this is the user ID, select SSID, then enter SSID. Then my IRD pin means the SSID login pin. Then enter company TIN under my company tax reference number. Then enter the text. If you not clear the texture, you can click on refresh hyperlink and you can enter new texture. Then click on login button. Then system will navigate to that SSID is user profile. Then you can go to the return and schedule management and click on statement of estimated tax payable. In the select year of assessment, you can select the year of assessment. Then click on proceed. In the confirmation message, you can click yes, select it. It's showing the taxpayer information and the summary of the previous submission. That set return can submit original return and revise statement. You can submit. In this case, this is the original return submission. As per the Act, there are 4 types of income sources. Employment income is not applicable for corporate income tax. So in this case, I enter business income and as well as investment income. These editable cases you can use to enter your value. A relevant calculation will be auto calculated system itself. There's no other income, and total estimated assessable income is computed in page 50. If you're having any estimated qualifying payment, you can enter in page 60. If there is any relief, corporate income tax is no relief. There is any relief, you can enter in page 70. Then system calculate the estimated taxable income. To compute tax liability, you can use the part 2 of the set return, computation of estimated tax liability. Category of taxable income, you can select the relevant section from the drop-down list. Then the estimated taxable income cage will be editable. Once you select, then you can enter the respective taxable income in cage 80.1, and you can enter the respective tax rate, and tax liability will be auto computed in cage 90.1. By clicking on add row button, you can add another rows for adding additional information. Total tax liability will be auto computed based on the given information. In this case, I entered 3 rows, and tax liability auto populated in cage 9. Then you can enter the foreign tax credit, if any, in cage 100, and estimated advance personal income tax in cage 110. Then estimated tax payable will compute in page 120. Then you will navigate to part 3. It's a declaration page. Full name of the declarer. Then designation, NIC, telephone number, mobile number, email. If you click on save draft, the entered information will be saved draft. Or click on go to confirmation, system navigate to the confirmation page. You can verify the entered value is there. Verify each and every cases in the confirmation page. If you need any correction, you can click on amend button. If it is correct, you can click on print and you can save it as a PDF, or you can directly print using your connected print. Give the file name for the PDF and you can click on save. If you're having any supporting document relevant to the set return, you can click upload supporting document button and system will navigate to the document uploading page. You can select supporting document option in document type. Under subdocument type, you can select what are the document you wish to upload. Then click on select file button and select the relevant information documents. So, then click save and confirm by clicking OK button. Then you can click on submit button and set return will be submitted to the department and system will generate an acknowledgement and you can print it. This is the acknowledgement issued by the system. If you need any upload any revise set, you can select the respective your resume. You can submit it again. If you wish to retrieve the previous entered values, you can click on retrieve hyperlink and previous value will be auto populated to the return. You can make amendment in that places and you can resubmit it if you need. After submitting return, you need to log out properly from the e-service login. Okay, it is the estimate return submission process. It is very small return and you can use the flow. Then we will move to individual income tax return. In the individual income tax return, you can select the individual taxpayer and click proceed to login. Then system navigate to this page. Using the administrative PIN issued for the TIN, the individual taxpayer can log in their return submission page. Enter the TIN, IRD PIN and texture and click on login. This is the main return of the individual taxpayer. It is similar as physical return department issued. There is no place to enter values in the main return except cage 80. All other cages are non-editable and system provide hyperlinks for each schedules, and you can click on relevant schedule and you can enter the values, or you can click next in the main return and enter the values accordingly. Part A is income section, part B deduction section, and part C tax calculation section. Then part D exempt income section. Once you click on next, system will move to the schedule 1 page. Schedule 1 is employment income page. By clicking schedule hyperlink also, you can move to the respective schedule. Part 1 is employment income. Using the text boxes provided below the table, like 101, 102, 103 and 104, you can enter the values, and you need to click add button to add the record to the respective table. In employment type, you can select primary employment or secondary employment according to the employment type. Then cage 102, employer name. Then cage 103, TIN of the employer and amount of remuneration in cage 104. After enter the value, click add, and that amount will be added to the respective schedule. Likewise, you can add other income information. In part 3, employment income exempt amount. If you are having any exempt employment income, you can enter under part 2. Schedule 2 is related to the business income. Using the text boxes as previous schedule, you can enter the values in cage 201 for activity codes, then 202 nature of the business, and cage 203 gain and profit on that business. After enter the value, you can click on add, and record will be added to the table. Likewise, you can move to the respective another investment income schedule, other income schedule. Then Schedule 5. Schedule 5 is qualifying payment. If you're having any qualifying payment in terms of Inland Revenue Act number 24 2007, you can enter in Part A. If you're having any brought forward qualifying payment, you can enter in Part B of the Schedule 5. In any really, this is applicable only for the previous year of assessments. This is not applicable from 1st of January 2023. Therefore, the part is not applicable. Schedule 6 for the final withholding deduction and Schedule 7 for the withholding tax deduction. And then the main schedule is next main schedule is Schedule 8. It is the tax computation schedule. As per the main return, total taxable income in case 120 of the main return will be auto-populated in case 101. The taxpayer need to distribute that taxable income based on the tax rates, sometimes based on the remuneration, and sometimes capital gain based on the capital gain income. Likewise, you can distribute the taxable income in Schedule 8. This is the 2021 return, and currently that tax rates will be appeared up to 36%. You can distribute the taxable income and tax will be auto calculated. In Schedule 9, designed for tax credits, you can enter your applicable tax credit in here. Schedule 9A for economic charges and 9B for partnership tax credits. And some cases, the values will be populated from the withholding tax schedule, Schedule 7. Then Schedule 9C, relevant for the installment payment. After entering the relevant tax credit, you can click on next. According to the time available, I will skip some steps. This is the asset and this is the loss schedule. If company is having a taxpayer, individual taxpayer is having any losses regarding his business or investment or other losses, he can enter in this schedule. After entering the loss schedule, once you click next, system will navigate to the asset and liability page. you can click on add row button in the asset analysis below the relevant table, and you can enter value to the pop-up text boxes and click on add button. The entered value will be populated in the respective table. After entering the asset and liability information, system will navigate to the confirmation page. You can verify the amounts entered into the return. After verifying, as I explained in previous set return submission, you can print the prepared return, and also you can save it as a PDF document, and you can upload relevant schedule if you are applicable. If you wish to upload schedule supporting documents at once, you can click on supporting document. There is a document option to upload schedule. You can upload within the return or you can upload later. If you select later, you don't have to upload supporting document with return. If you select now, you can click upload supporting document button and you can upload the supporting document as explained in the set return. As well as once you submit, click on submit, the acknowledgement will be generated by the system. Now we can move to PIT, Partnership Income Tax. In this case, there is a draft return. In this return also, main return, cases in the main return is non-editable. You can click on next and you can enter the value in the respective schedule. In the first schedule of the partnership return, you have to provide the information of the partners. Partner's name, PIN number of the partner, NIC of the partner, and profit sharing ratio. Using the text boxes given below, you can enter the values and you can add button. If you need any change, you can click the hyperlink provided in the partner serial number and you can update the values. In this case, I added second partner, name, the number of that partner, and NIC. Then profit ratio in page 204. Click add. Then Schedule 2A, distribution of partnership income and gain from realization of investment asset. You don't have enter the XM amount here. You can enter salaries, wages, interest or capital on balance income from business and investment income of the partnership, other income of partnership. Those information you can enter in these text boxes. After enter the value, you can click on add. Values entered in the text boxes will be added to the income table. In this case, there are two partners, but there is adding additional record. And you can select that record, then you can click remove button and additional record will be removed. Error record will be removed. And schedule 2B is related to the XM amount. You can enter the XM partnership income in this section. Schedule 3, tax paid on income of partnership. Schedule 3A is the detail of capital gain and tax payment. Realization date in page 213, 214 and date of payment 215 and paid amount in 216 and click on that and record will be added. Schedule 3B, detail of advance income tax deducted by the agent. If any withholding tax deducts or APIT deducted with respect of the income of the partnership, that detail should be entered in the Schedule 3B. Schedule 3C for self-assessment tax payment. You can enter the installment payment details in this section. The entered data will be auto-populated in the main return. Then the tax will be before calculate tax, you have to enter any qualifying payment available for the partnership in Schedule 5. Schedule 4 is tax computation schedule. Before entering value in Schedule 4, you have to enter the qualifying payment details in Schedule 5. amount of the qualifying payment and advance income tax payment details. Then we go into the calculation section. Partnership taxable income. Then we can distribute first 1 million of the taxable income tax under zero rate, and other will be taxed at 6%. If there is any gain on realization of investment asset, that part should be entered in gauge 233.1, and tax will be auto calculated based on the 10% tax rate. Once you distribute the taxable income, tax will be auto calculated. If there is any error in the tax distribution, system will populate an error. Once you enter the data, you will move to the confirmation page. In this page showing schedule 6 detail of partnership losses. If partnership is having any business losses, investment losses or XM losses, you can enter in schedule 6. Partnership losses cannot be carried forward for the next return. In schedule 7, detail of partnership business. You can enter the business turnover of liable business, business turnover XM business, then expenses in relation to the partnership business. Those information you can enter in the part 1 of the schedule 7, and then you need to enter the balances, stock in trade, raw material, work in progress, trade receivable. Those information you have to enter in the part 2 of schedule 7. After enter all data, you can click on next and system navigate to the confirmation page. You can verify the information entered. In this case, I want to highlight something. In this case, the submit button showing a submit for approval. It means this return prepared through prepare SSID. There are two types of SSIDs in return submission. One is preparer, another one is approver. Preparer is assigned to maybe account clerk like that, and approve option will be kept finance manager or finance executive or managing director. Like once the preparer prepared, it can be only submit to approval. This return not received to the IRD. Once you click submit for approval, this draft return will be pop up to approval. Once approval login, he can review this return, and if it is okay, he can submit the return. That's why this button show as submit for approval. You can save the PIT return as PDF document. I showing the acknowledgement of the PIT. Once you click on submit button of the PIT return, once you click on confirmation, this is the acknowledgement of the PIT return, and you can print this acknowledgement also. Okay, we have complete set IIT and PIT. Then we move to corporate income tax return. Corporate income tax return submission. As previous return submission, you have to enter the login information, authorize SSID, relevant password, and respective TIN number of the company, and texture. This is the SSID dashboard. Then go to the return and schedule management and select corporate income tax option. This is the summary page of return submission. In this case, there are two records. This is the testing environment. That's why, and due to the defect, that return is display as two records. In production, you can see only one record for 1 year of assessment. Once you select the respective year assessment, click on proceed button. This is the 2020 21-22 return, and current, even other than the rate change, there is no much more changes in the return flow. Return submission flow is same as previous returns. In the information part, you have to select resident, non-resident status of the company. This is the resident company. You can select resident company, and you need to select the respective qualifying conditions. the company entitled for any tax exemption. If you have, you need to select yes. If you don't have, select no. Second one, company has any business losses. Likewise, then if the company has any qualifying payment, if you ask, select yes. Otherwise, you can select no. If you have any withholding payment, you can select yes. Otherwise, no. If you have any ESC credit or withholding EIT credit, then click on next. Based on this selection, some part will not be appeared in the return and some cases will not be editable. Then system move to section 1. First part is income, accessible income part. All business income, investment income and income should enter in the schedule 2, qualifying payment in schedule 3, tax computation in schedule 4. And tax credit in schedule 7. Before click on next, you can select if you wish to submit computation sheet and financial information in the return in section 2. In this case, I not select no and click here, click the next button and confirm the return submission steps. Then system navigate to the section 2. If you take any support from the other person in return filing, you can click yes and enter the details of that person. If you didn't get any support from other person, you can select no and you can fill the declaration page. First one is full name of the declarer, then designation, then telephone number, after fill the declaration page, you can click next and system will move to schedule 2. First part of the schedule 2 is summary page and value will be auto populated based on the information entered in schedule 2A, part 1, part 2 and part 3. Part 1 is business income. You can select the activity code from the drop down list provided in the respective record and enter the turnover and gain and profit earn that activity. Totals will be auto calculated and value will be auto populated to the summary section. Part 2 is investment. For the investment income, you can select the respective activity code and you can enter the investment income details. In this case, the company is having interest income from local and he enter the interest income and gain of the interest income. Part 3 is for other income. If you have any other income, you can enter in here. Otherwise, you can click next. Once you click save draft, the information entered to the return schedules will save as draft. The total of the schedule details will be auto-populated to the summary page. Then click on next. That information also populated to the main return to. Declaration page. Is schedule 2. We entered the information, then click on next. And schedule 3 designed for qualifying payment. Summary part is there and relevant section segment is the below of the summary part. You can follow the guideline issued, and there are some tool tips. You can move the cursor to this blue color tool tips and it will provide some more information with regard to that qualifying payment. You can enter the qualifying payment in the editable text box, and maximum claim will be auto-populated. Based on that, you can enter the qualifying payment details in schedule 3. Then click on next. Then system will navigate to the schedule 4. It is designed for tax calculation. You can select the taxable, you can divide the taxable income which is liable for special rate. You can select the respective code. This code is available in the IRD web portal. I will show after this video. I will show where you can download the code table list. Based on the tax rate available in the IR Act, this code was developed. Some code provides taxpayer can enter the respective tax rate. This is the code table provide for 22-23. You can select the respective code and enter the taxable income, and tax will be auto computed. After distribute the special rate taxable income, balance will be auto computed as the standard rate. Then after calculate the tax, you can click on next and system will navigate to the schedule 7. This is the tax credit schedule. First one, foreign tax credit. Then if there is any other relief, you can enter in that page. This part is identified as the non-refundable credit. Withholding payment, self-assessment payment, remittance tax payment, those are considered as a refundable credits, and you can enter the information in here. In this case, taxpayer is paid self-assessment payment. total refundable credit and total tax credit auto calculate. Then click on next and click make yes. 7 schedule 7B for non-final withholding payments. If you having any non-final withholding details, you can enter here. In this case, taxpayer is having 10% withholding credit on some receipt. And also he is having brought forward withholding credit 3.1 million total credit. Click on next and then system will navigate to the confirmation page. You can verify the information in the confirmation page. If all the information are correct, you can print the confirmation page details and you can submit corporate income tax return. This corporate income tax return also, if prepared by the preparer, it will submit for approval. After submitting by the approver, that return will be submitted to IRD. In this case, return is finalized by the approver. Once click on submit. Before submitting the return, you can upload some respective information, audit opinion, income statement, tax computation, or detailed profit and loss account. Like you can select the relevant supporting documents. I used to upload these 4 documents and select supporting document at document type and select relevant option of under sub-document type and select relevant details. In this case, audit opinion. Then you can upload income statement. Click an arrow and select income statement. This is the detailed profit and loss account. Click, select the relevant detail account and you have to submit income tax computation. Click drop down list and select income, then income statement. Select the document and click open. Those documents will added to the system. After adding the document, you can click on save. Then click OK on the confirmation. Then you can click on submit button. Before submitting, you can print it. Then you can close. The return will be updated as a submitted. Then you can click on logout and log out properly. Then we can move to another small return for SSCA. After that, we can move to web. Then SSCA. SSCL is very easy. As previous, you can select the company tax matters and enter the login details. In this case, this SSID is not having the approval for submitting SSID. Therefore, you have to log in using administrative PIN. Then you can authorize this SSID for SSCL submission. For this, you need to click on the hyperlink provided as click on authorize staff tax agent hyperlink in the IRD web page. Then this login page will be displayed. Then using the TIN and administrative PIN, you can log in. This login is this is the first time login. You need to enter the department provided IRD PIN under the current PIN. Then you can enter new PIN, which is alphanumeric and limit to 8 digits. After set your own PIN, you can click save. In this case, I put as Ramis 999. Then you can authorize. Click on create authorization. Create authorization. Then enter respective SSID. Then click search. In this case, this SSID having. In this case, this SSID is authorized for the SSCL return submission, and you can create a password for this SSID. Go to the authorization and select new password for start and enter SSID and NIC and click save. System automatically generated password for SSID. This password for SSID login. Then log out in this main PIN login. Using that SSID and create password, we can log in for submitting SSCL return. Enter SSID, TIN and created password. Then in first time, you have to change your SSID password also for your own password. this is the password for SSID, similar as process is similar as administrative pin change. After changing the own password of the SSID, system will navigate to the profile page of the respective SSID. Then go to the return and schedule management and click on social security contribution levy option. Then you can click third quarter of 2023. Return submission is same. If you want to change your business activity code, you can enter in the text box provided in the top of the return. Then you can enter the information in relation to the respective month. This is the third quarter of 2023, July, August, or September details you have to enter. After entering the monthly turnover, the total turnover will be auto calculated, as well as liable turnover also, and tax liability also auto calculated. In this case, taxpayer is having manufacturing turnover as well as service turnover. Once taxpayer fill the data, system will auto calculate the respective tax liabilities. Liable turnover for manufacturing is 80% of the total turnover, for service 100%, and tax rate is 2.5. The wholesale, it is having wholesale and retail 20 million turnover. After entering the monthly turnover details, tax will be auto computed, and you have to enter the installment payment details in part 3 of the return. Enter first installment, second installment, third installment, and if there is any brought forward excess payment from the previous return, you can enter in. It is in N4. After fill the data, you can enter the declaration deed information. After filling the declaration, you can click on next, and system will navigate to the confirmation page. As previous return, you can print this confirmation page, and you can click on submit, and system will navigate to the acknowledgement page, and you can print that acknowledgement also. If you wish to amend, you can click amend button, and you can make amendments if necessary. Start to shall we continue on VAT or
Yeah, if you can quickly continue, sir, within a few minutes, it will be.
VAT, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better.
I skip the login path because same as previous return submission. In this case, select the relevant period and click on proceed. First, system navigate to the qualifying condition section. It asks several questions. You need to select yes or no. Is output tax schedule applicable? If you select yes, you have to upload respective schedule. Or you have to enter the respective data. First four cases ask for the schedule details. Unabsorbed input. Qualifying condition 6 ask do you want to edit cage level? After selecting the relevant section, you can click on next. First part is output tax. You have to enter the taxable supply, deemed taxable supply on special project, deemed taxable supply on strategic development project, or wholesale retail taxable supply. This case is provided to the taxpayer who registered under the wholesale and retail from 2016, May 2016, and VAT suspended taxable supply. In this case, zero rated cages in related to the zero rated supplies non-nettable because we don't have such a supply. If select yes, these cages will be editable. Section 3 is input tax. Cage H4 and 5 related to the import, and cage I and 6 related to the local purchase, input tax on local purchases. In this return also, total will be auto calculated by the system itself. After fill output tax and input tax, you can click on next. If you identify any input tax is having disallowed, you can enter in cage 8, disallowable input tax. Then click next. Cage 10 for brought forward input tax. If there is any amount in cage 14 in previous return, you can enter that value in cage 10 in this current return. Tax allowable input credit will be auto calculated. These are the credit part, and you can enter the monthly payment details in cage Q. Then you can click next. In this case, output tax and input tax schedules need to be uploaded. First part is for Schedule 1 output tax. Click on the select file button and select the verified output tax schedule and click open, and schedule will be added to the respective place. And also we have to upload Schedule 2 input tax on local purchase and Schedule 3 for input tax on imports. As we select no for the credit note and debit note schedule in the qualifying condition page, that buttons are disabled. After uploading the schedules, you can click next. In this case, click save draft. That return is saved as draft. You can proceed this draft return also. If it is incorrect schedule, you can delete it also before submitting. In this case, delete the record and I will upload the fresh schedule here. Then click on next and system will navigate to confirmation page. You can verify the information entered into the return. Output tax, input tax, tax credit, allowable credits. Please verify these figures before submitting and keep print. Then enter the declarant information. Then click on submit. Before submitting, it is save as PDF by clicking print button. The system will generate the temporary acknowledgement. You can print it. After processing the schedule files through the IRD system, the officer will issue notice to a permanent acknowledgement for this return submission. Before close this, I want to highlight some information available in the IRD web. There's a lot of information under the download page. Forms and return. CIT tax code also here. You can click on the resident, non-resident company, etc. Then in this, there is a list of code for special tax rate on Schedule 4. This is the Excel file. You can click on hyperlink and you can download the tax rate code table. As well as there is another option to verify the schedule process. It is available in the tools. This is the small software designed for verify the schedule submitted with the return. You can click on tool. Tool will be downloaded, and this is the zip folder. You can extract that tool and you can use in schedule verification. This is the compressed folder. You can double click on it and you can right click on the application. So double click on the application. It asks to extract this file. You can click extract all and select the place you want to extract. I want to extract it desktop and select, then extract. After extract this software, you can use it. It is for schedule file verification. Double click on it, then double click on the application file. Click on monitor. Fun anyway. If you want to verify VAT schedule, you can click VAT schedule verify button. If you want to verify withholding schedules, withholding or IIT schedule, you can click on IIT. Likewise, if you want to verify VAT schedule, you can click on VAT button, and you need to select the schedule name under the file type. So VAT schedule 1, schedule 2, schedule 3, like that. Then click on, I think, VAT schedule 1. Then you can enter the period code, which 24th first quarter schedule. Then click browse and select the prepared schedule in your system, computer. Schedule 1. Then click open and click on verify button. If there is no any error, the message will be pop up as validation pass. If there is any error, this message will be another error message will be pop up. Once you click OK, the error list will be populated. Think about this. TIN number entered in the name is invalid. This said I entered incorrect schedule. Likewise, that errors will be populated in this verification box. You have to upload the verification pass schedule with your return. After verifying, if there is no errors, validation will be passed and you can upload that schedule file. In VAT return submission, so and relevant schedule you can download, schedule template you can download from the download menu and click on schedule. Then relevant tax type will be pop up. You can click on the respective tax type and schedule Excel template is uploaded here. You can click on this is the individual income tax withholding credit schedule. This is the predefined Excel format. You can click on it. This is the This is the withholding tax CSV schedule designed for IIT withholding credit. Likewise, you can use that Excel template for return submission. For VAT, there are 7 schedules and as well as 7 amendment schedules. And we have department uploaded several quick guides. You can follow the quick guide for preparing this schedule file. As well as withholding tax is having 3 type of schedules. Schedule 1 for deduction of withholding from interesting or discount, and schedule 2A for withholding deduction for other payment on the resident individuals, and schedule 2B for withholding deduction from non-resident individual. Likewise, you can use this schedule 5 for pay return. There are schedule 1 for remuneration other than once and all payment, schedule 2 for once and all payment, schedule 3 for the employee list who the APIC did not deducted. Likewise, you can follow this information in your returns filing. In the busy time, I have completed this one. I think this is a rapid session and covered more in my all the tax types. If you having any question, you can give 5-10 minutes for clear your questions. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dusita Gamage, for your wonderful presentation. We have almost around 30 questions. I will take it as much as possible. So the first question they're asking is the Ramis system permits a 10 GB capacity for each return. So whether it's sometimes they feel it's not adequate to upload the documents in a good quality. Are there any plans to increase the capacity from 10 GB?
Some facilities is provided most for the most of bank and finances there are issue, and IRDs provide another facility discussed with the ITAX unit in the IRD that taxpayer can contact the ITAX unit and he can use that extra facility, as well as other person can submit their schedules using schedule and document upload UI, another UI provided for uploading supporting documents other than the return submission.
Thank you. Another question is, once a return is submitted to the system, it not allow to review the returns or schedules.
Yeah, in the Act provide for amendment return for the income tax, but there is no provision to amend the VAT return in the VAT Act. But if there is any alteration, taxpayer can make a written request to the Commission General, and IRD officer will verify it and make relevant amendment. If tax liability is increased, officers can issue assessment based on that request. If tax liability is reduced, that taxpayer has to follow the appeal procedure to amend the return.
Thank you. Then next question is, if the system got stuck, is it difficult to log out of the system? To resolve the issue, we have to close the Ramis profile. The system will give us only half an hour to relog into the system for the same tax profile.
Yeah, it is the design in the system for the auto close of the system. It provide 30 minutes limit, because the end of the taxable fee, the return filing last moment, it is the issue in the system and network issues. But we also discussed with the development team this issue, but some parties enhance for return submission facilitation.
The next question,
Because
Ramis disallows
currently
the
IIT return also have to submit via e-service. Therefore, we also discussed with the development team, enhance the facilities.
Thank you. The next question is, Ramis disallows mismatch input VAT invoices. To clarify further, if any person does not disclose all the VAT collected, the input tax paid by the corresponding person is disallowed as a mismatch. This is unfair by the person who has paid the VAT at source when providing the goods or services.
Based on the unmatched status, department will not disallow. Most previously some cases is available. Some cases are available without verifying the mismatch. Some cases are disallowed, and the appeal stage we allow that cases. But normally we instructed to the officers, don't disallow based on the unmatched. Please verify the sample, at least sample of the mismatched cases that can be allowed or not allowed. If the taxpayer is failed to submit respective information, officer will disallow. Otherwise, officer will allow by overriding the mismatch.
And then there's a two related question. One is Ramis does not provide online facility for obtaining liquor license. And the other one is they are saying when asking for a tax clearance for the visa purpose, the system asks for the visa itself.
Yeah, that for the liquor license system is provide facility, but some in the default cases there is a blocker, some blocker issues. We are discussing to resolve that blocker issues. After resolve that, taxpayer can claim that clearance via Ramis system, because the system is designed for issue all clearance through the Ramis system. But some defects and some barriers, blocker issues, it will stop, and in some cases manual clearance is issued by the department.
And the other question, related question was when requesting for the tax clearance for visa purposes. They are saying the system is asking for the copy of the visa, but the request is the letter is required to submit for the visa application. How they can overcome?
I need to verify it because I am not much more familiar that issue. We'll check and we can update this. That person can send a mail or contact us and ask the resolution. We can provide some solution for that.
Okay. Then there's no credit note facility for the service exports in Ramis.
Because the export does not consider for the tax computation. It is only applicable for refund computation. Therefore, we not introduce for the tax credit note or debit note for zero rated supplies. We inform taxpayer to amend the respective export or zero rated schedule and respective return, because it directly affect to the computation of the refund amount in the return. That's why we don't introduce a credit note schedule for zero rate of supplies. But in future, sometimes some enhancement may be.
So they are asking, next question is asking when for the window will be open for the 2023-24 return.
Normally,
Difficult to answer.
by mid of October, we can do. Not because testing also not completed at now.
Will the Ramis be available as a smartphone app in the future?
Yeah, you can use your mobile phone as well as.
So they're asking, are there any app for that Ramis?
We'll try.
Then according to the new laws, are we supposed to pay pay and withhold index on behalf of employees and for consultants? I think that's a straightforward answer, Mr. Atula. I think yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, they're asking whether supposed to pay the pay and withhold index on behalf of the employees and consultants. I think if you're exceeding 100,000, Mr. Atula, I think you can answer that, no?
Yeah, if it is, if you have an employment contract, then you have to apply the APIT tables. If it is a supply of services, not employment, then the other withholding tax to be applicable.
It is a professional
Yeah.
service.
Yeah, professional services and all.
So I think now we are almost 4:50, even though there are more questions. We will see how we can reply to them through email or something after collecting all the questions. To conclude today's proceeding, I would like to request once again our founder and president of the CMS Sri Lanka to deliver the concluding remarks.
Right. Thank you. I think there are on the online, we have received around 22 questions. We have not had the time to go through, but certainly, as mentioned, we will try to collect those and then give it to both Mr. Atula and Mr. Taranga. So, Mr. Tusita, so I think we had a long session because I think especially Mr. Tusita Gamage, I think you took a great deal of trouble in explaining everything, and I think a lot of them were able to really get a good knowledge of what was being done. But I'm sure that this needs maybe more explanations that will come. I'm sure you will have a lot more questions that they will come. But let me thank you because you spent quite a lot of time in explaining the whole thing. And I think what everyone wants to see is that they can do it without maybe difficulty. And of course, what you have mentioned, I don't know whether maybe on the personal tax, I'm sure individuals will be able to do it. But maybe when the other company and other the areas of VAT and others, definitely, I suppose more specialized people will have to come in, and that's where the professionals will have to really train them. Plus, of course, those who are arranging the tax that is being done by the various tax consultants. So once again, Mr. Tusit Gamage, let me thank you because I know that the Commissioner General of Inland Revenue and the other heads of the divisions had recommended you, and we are indeed grateful to you for the time that you have taken and for the great depth that you went into, because I think there was almost close upon uh, 600 participants, and although we have had over 1,000 registrations, we always find that some of them maybe wanting to get the recording and then go through it. But I'm sure the recording is also available, and we will be able to give it to them. So once again, we are very thankful to you because it's not a easy exercise, because you really had to give the practical aspects, because which and then going through, because sometimes people don't realize maybe that they also have to have some practice in this. I'm sure that you have done it many times, and you really was able to go through it in depth. So I'm sure that maybe later we can see if anything is required, if we can get your assistance maybe on the different aspects. It might be that we can do something, but maybe we have to do it in smaller batches. I think that's what we will have to do. And even at the moment, we are doing certain tax lectures that we are doing. So if anyone is interested to get more details, please let us know, so that then maybe we can arrange a series of lectures which will help you to go through and maybe go through in detail. That's something that has to be done as early as possible. So once again, Mr. Susita Gamege, who's the Senior Deputy Commissioner, Department of Inland Revenue, and also now in charge of the Secretariat branch, as mentioned by Mr. Atul Ranavira. It was something that we really appreciate. And also the number of registration shows that there is a big necessity, or maybe some training that will have to be done, which I think we will also have to take note of, and we can also discuss with you and see how we can provide maybe the easy access and training to them. But this is a exercise which we have done, which I think I don't know whether very many of these have been done, but for us it was something that we saw is important, because the numbers who registered shows that this is really required. So I'm sure that from your side also, if you all are able to take note of it, because this has to be a public-private partnership, because I think, because we are there to assist you in everything, and similarly, all our maybe members and the other clients and the those who are in the corporate sector will be able to benefit. So once again, I'm indeed thankful to you, and also to your Commissioner General, and also for the other staff who are helping us in these areas. I must also thank Mr. Atul Ranavira, because he is someone who's been closely involved with us in all our tax matters. And I think Mr. Atul, this numbers registered shows that we need to maybe now expand the courses that we are doing. So we may need to look at that and then see how we can really expand it. And I know that you were really not too well, but I'm very happy that you were able to be there, and also to speak at the initial stages and explain everything. And I must also thank Mr. Gajendra, who's the chairman of the taxation committee. I think, Gajendra, there is a lot of work to be done from your committee, so you all may also have to get very active. And I'm sure that we are having the support from the department, as well as from our members and tax experts such as Mr. Atul Ranavira, and this will greatly help all of us. Then I must also thank all our participants, because there were a large number who have registered, and there were of course certain questions. We will do our best to see whether we can answer those, and maybe send it to you all, so that all of you all will be able to get the answers to those questions. And I'm thankful to you all for registering, and you can also write to us and let us know any sort of areas that you need to be explained in more detail, so that then we can make a note of it and see how we can do it. So we have overstepped our time, but by half an hour. But I'm thankful to all of you who have been there. You all have been very keen on this whole thing, uh, and we are hopeful that maybe, I don't know whether we can have anything before the elections that we can do, but maybe after that we can see how we can really work on it. But as I said earlier, knowledge is very essential. You will not lose anything, the skills that are developed. So we are very fortunate that there are very skilled members in the Inland Revenue Department, like Mr. Tusita Gamage, who have studied this in depth and are able to explain to us. So that's what we are really looking at, and I'm sure, Mr. Gamage, that you will be able to train more of your officers in this, so that they will also be able to, in large numbers, to assist the clients that you all are servicing. And every day, I think tax department has become a very important part of the revenue collection. So I think from what you have seen, what we have shown, what you have done, I'm sure that your department will be able to meet these targets, and see that the revenue side will be looked after, and that you will succeed in all your activities. So once again, let me thank our speakers, and also our moderator, Mr. Gajendra, and all our participants for their participation and for the valuable contribution that you have done, which will also boost the image of CMA, because as the certified management accountants, we are more the operational people rather than going behind things. Operational, so operations are very essential, and skillful operations is what Mr. Tusita Gamate showed to us, that you need to be skillful, and we will take the lesson from you. And once again, thanks very much, and we hope we can take this forward. Thank you, and all the very best.
And from the last point, what Mr. Dusita Gamage mentioned, I think I would like to make a information to our members also, as Mr. Atul also will agree as a practitioner, not to wait till November 29th and 30th to file the return, because last 2 years experience, we had a lot of difficulties on those 2 days. So even as a practitioners, if you can file the return at least by 25th, 26th, it will be more easy for both sides. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's a matter for the clients also. I think the taxpayers should view all their information, so that there won't be a problem, I think, for the practitioners. Okay, thanks. And let's wind up. Gajendra, thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Tusita Gamage and Atula Ranavira for all the support that you have given.
Thanks, sir.
Thank
Thank
you all.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Okay.